Yeah, well, the live stream I'm not too worried about. That's by and by. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I've got too much on my desk. There.
You think you've got too much on your desk?
Well, this is what we've just been debating to all those live YouTubers. Which it's shocking. We're actually live on YouTube at 7:00, even though we're like the latest we've ever done a podcast.
It's not the latest. Well, I think we did start one. We did start one at 8:00 once, I think, and it went on till like 10:30.
Not even the latest in time. The latest after the race. Like, I can't remember what happened 3 days ago, 2 days ago. How long ago was it? 2 days ago. Jesus.
Right, you have to feel for a minute.
I did admittedly just watch. Which is what I am doing.
Fantastic, thank you.
I did watch the Formula E this afternoon.
Oh, you've actually watched it, have you?
That's good. Yeah,
it was good. I always watched.
It's very good of you to watch the thing we're talking about.
Are you hinting at someone else in this? Well, to be honest, the other person
I wasn't actually.
No, they might be talking about Formula One.
I wasn't,
because we were meant to have a guest, and unfortunately, I guess I'm going to strip because I'm too hot. What t-shirt have I got on? I've got Justice League on. That'll do. 2 seconds.
Right, I'll send those emails out. That's fine. Which means I can close down Twitter now. Where's Carl gone? Oh, he's stripping, isn't he? Right, close down Twitter. There is just too much going on in this window. I can close down WhatsApp now. Hi, YouTube. How are you? I've no idea if there's anyone watching yet. I haven't got the stream up, but hey ho. We'll be starting the podcast fairly soon. We were supposed to have a...
hey! There we go.
Hey.
Sorry, I thought I somehow muted myself and couldn't work out what the hell was going on.
Yeah, we're supposed to be having a Fernando Alonso fanboy on today, but unfortunately, this is very, very good.
And much like Fernando Alonso, he just didn't turn up.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's Birds, and he's my best mate, and there is a genuine reason as to why he can't come.
Yeah.
But
so we'll get him on again.
Hey ho. I know, shockingly, as much as everyone thinks that Tom is not my best mate, and I'm not Tom's best mate.
No.
True story there.
Yeah, true story.
Although Charlie's my best mate.
Yeah.
He is now.
There we go. We've got Darren already. That's all right. We can start. Darren's on.
Oh, is Darren on?
Yeah. Darren's like the Monkeyseat.
Do you know what? I'm going to have to open up. I'm just going to have to open up YouTube. Oh, yeah. What was it? Oh, there was Philip the other day.
Yeah.
On the Grid Talk podcast. After the podcast, they carry on the YouTube, like the after show, which we're not cool enough to do an after show because we're not that clever. And we do a pre-show because we're just mucking about as opposed to anything else. And then he turned around and went, "Oh yeah, I had the Monkeyseat duo on." I was like, "Yeah, we're now the Monkeyseat duo."
Excellent.
Like that's how we're now known. And also, then Ruby turned around to Tom and said to Tom, "God, your co-host can talk, can't he?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Thanks." Thanks.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, that's just another podcast that we do sometimes, Charlie.
That's another podcast.
If you didn't
we jump
know.
on.
But yeah, cool. Okay. I'm not sharing audio.
What's our podcast called?
It's Monkeyseat.
Monkeyseat program.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just downloading it.
What was it we were originally going to call it? There was something, the name that I came up with, and then you came up with this one. What was it we were going to call it? But there was a clothing line that always go for the gap. That was it. There was a clothing line called Go for the Gap, so we couldn't use it. But yeah, hey ho.
And wasn't there something else we could have called it, like a douche or something? What was it? Like there was another name.
No, that's your name.
Of a piece of equipment. No, piece of equipment on a car.
It was the gurney flap.
Gurney flap, that was it. We're going to be called the gurney flap for a while.
No, yeah.
It just sounds very,
by a while,
very
you mean about 5 seconds. We considered that. Anyway,
I laughed at it.
Cool. So, should we start the podcast?
I like that you have to name the title before we even started. Oh, I didn't watch Formula 3, by the way. I totally forgot about that.
It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
Oh, I did. Did I watch Formula 3?
I don't know.
Remember. I did watch something of Formula. I watched the last laps of one of the races. Is there now 3 races?
Yeah, there's 3 races. I'll go through that when we get to Formula 3. Well, we'll attack Formula 3 in a slightly different way this year. It won't be like race review talking points. We'll probably just do it as like kind of one big first corner crash in one go. Anyway, let's start the podcast.
Oh, we're live.
Oh, and a big hit there from Fernando Alonso. Two cars in one corner, and the Brits are lighting up this sprint race.
We still have no Formula E in this.
Yeah, I need to put it. I haven't done it yet.
Is that clock going slowly? It is.
I mean, all you need is sound.
And it's green. We're green in Monaco.
And we're green in London,
Anyway.
surely. Well, that's as near as we're all going to get.
Yeah.
Oh! Hitchcock with a
There we
big
go.
one. Big one.
Oh shit, I haven't got the right thing now.
Welcome to the Monkeyseat, episode 50. That means we're half as good as Hamilton, doesn't it? My name is Tom.
Something like that. And I'm Carl, who was actually excited to see a Monaco Grand Prix this weekend.
We weren't excited to see the last one. Oh, sorry.
No,
you're
I don't
talking
like
about the one.
Monaco Grand
Oh,
Prix.
okay, right, yeah. And we also with
I
Formula
like-
1 in 2 weeks
sorry.
as well.
Yeah, I don't really like the Formula 1 one, but the Formula E one was actually quite exciting this week,
It was.
which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. We are a fully independent podcast hosted by two opinionated friends who like to put the world to rights.
Independent, although we are sponsored by Manscaped. Or you can find us on all major podcasting platforms by searching the Monkeyseat podcast.
Just because we've got a sponsor doesn't mean we're not independent. You can get in
This
touch
is
with
the
us by
worst
leaving
start
a 5-star review to get a shout out on our show, or if you want to support us, you can visit our website monkeyseatpod.com and make a donation to help us continue what we're doing. But I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any donations now after this opening start.
Yeah, sorry about that. You can also follow us on all the socials at Monkeyseat Pod, or visit our YouTube channel, which we're live as we speak. You can also get involved and chat to us on there. And this show goes out live, so all the mistakes that don't make a final cut, such as most of this beginning.
Yeah.
Though you might keep that all in. I don't know. Depends if Tom can be bothered to edit
It depends how bored I am at the time, really. But
As you
anyway,
can see, I don't know where the video is, but Charlie's here. I
Charlie.
think Charlie's
Hello,
below me.
Charlie. Bez, you're
Charlie actually
you're
below
looking
me.
a lot more youthful than you normally do, Bez.
Yes. Yeah. I've created a monster, Tom and Charlie.
Why?
I've actually created a monster.
Okay. What is his name? Killian.
No. It's worse. Her name is Laura.
Okay.
My wife has turned into a monster because she's turned around and started watching Drive to Survive.
Uh-oh.
Got really into it. Like really excited by it, really wants. I mean, she's watched all the races this season as well. Bless her. Started watching Drive to Survive, and she turned around to me, she said, "I'm going to go and watch some Formula 1." She's been watching Formula 1 YouTube videos all day. Like, well, when I say all day, for like 5 minutes between looking after the kids for most of the day.
Yeah.
And then she turned around to me and said, "Carl, you know, you can't go to any races now." I went, "What?" She went, "Well, if you go, I'm going to have to come." I'm like, "Can I get a break here?" So I've created a monster.
Okay.
We've actually created a monster. She's now into Formula 1. She'll even
That's cool.
start commenting on this YouTube thing. I swear to God. She should be putting the kids to bed, but I'm sure she'll have a comment at some point.
More than likely, she's never shy of an opinion, is she? So how's your week been, Charlie?
Oh, very good. Yeah, not bad actually. On the weekend, went off-roading actually with my dad. It was meant to be my Christmas present, but didn't get to do it till the weekend, so that was good.
Off-roading on what? Was that bikes
And what
or
type?
No, Land Rovers.
like? Oh, cool. I've done that. That's good fun.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Excellent.
Proper off-roading.
Yeah. So we'll start with the Formula E, obviously, as that's Charlie's baby. So it was an interesting race, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Cool. It's definitely the best racing I've seen at Monaco. First time I've seen
Yeah,
Formula E at
I mean,
Monaco.
it's the first time I've ever seen anyone overtake anyone. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, there's there's a couple of minor differences to the F1 track. The Nouvelle chicane is different because they've got that barrier.
Oh yeah,
across
but
it.
it's so tiny.
Yeah.
That's so tiny. You don't even really notice it.
No, the Nouvelle chicane you do.
Well, they don't even notice it because they took whatever decision they wanted to go around that chicane.
Yeah,
Didn't one of them just go straight on at one point?
Yeah, slightly, but you can't go straight on because you've got a barrier across it, which you don't have in Formula One. And obviously, the Sandoval at the start was slightly different profile. It was they still had the turn, but it's just a completely different profile. But apart from that, it was absolutely the same track that Formula One used. So it was great to see. I mean, they looked really small on the track, having being used to the Formula One.
I was surprised just how small they looked.
But it
worked.
It's quite strange to have a track that you see both the F1 and the Formula E on the same track. Like you never really. It's apart from. Is there any other tracks they do that on?
No.
That
Mexico City, but they don't use the full track, do they?
Yeah. No.
So it's strange to see what but it really does prove how big those F1 cars are and how because the Formula E car isn't small. Let's be honest, and how much room there is on that track if you didn't, and how that having that smaller car means we do actually get to overtake and we actually do get to see exciting racing as opposed to Formula One's let's drive around following each other around the track.
Exactly.
Look, I actually made you won't be able to see this because my green screen hide it, but I actually made a load of notes this time. Cool. So I'm actually ready to talk.
Excellent.
It's very strange for me. As I said on the pre-show, I did only watch it about an hour ago. So
did you notice? Did you notice the fans? I saw fans there.
I saw fans. I actually said that. I've got fans watching. They weren't at a swimming pool, but they were on one of the turns.
Yeah, there was
What's the last turn? They were on that one.
The Raskas. I
think they were there.
Anthony knows.
Oh, Anti-Nogue is the last one. Yeah, Raskas is just before it, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, Anti-Nogue then.
Yeah. And I saw them in one of the grandstands. I didn't see exactly where. I just saw them as the car went past, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was just like, "Oh, fans!" So yeah, that was.
Are they not allowed to mention the words Formula and One in the same sentence? Because they kept going. Yeah, when you see other formulas racing around here, I mean, just call it what it is, guys.
Just call a spade a spade.
I know. There's the historic Monaco Grand Prix or whatever it is that runs around. But let's be honest.
You got Formula 2 as well.
Yep.
Some years anyway.
Sorry, I've just got a text from my wife, and that's hilarious. She'll understand what I'm talking about, and I'll tell you later, guys, as to what my wife just said. Anyway, Go on.
Cool. So, you want to go into your review?
Absolutely, yeah.
You've got a timer this week. You've got 2 minutes because it's Monaco. So,
okay.
When you are ready.
Oh, you do with stupid sound effects too.
As soon as we went underway in Monaco, the stark differences between Formula One and its electric counterpart were clear. Almost immediately, cars were going 3 wide, overtakes up and down the field. At the hairpin, there was a lot of action, but unfortunately, Alexander Sims saw the end of his race there. Managed to keep it going though, and didn't end up with the safety car though. Pole turned out not to be the advantage that it usually is, and Robin Freins and Antonio Felix da Costa were having a good battle. Quite a lot of changes for the lead in the opening part of the race. More crazy moves have been made all across the circuit, some in some pretty unexpected places. Mitch Evans then activated his attack mode and carved through the field, getting past da Costa on the outside at Beau Rivage and holding the lead until René Rast crashed up the hill and the safety car came out. After the energy reduction, Evans unfortunately was left running on fumes, and on the last lap lost his place to finish third, Robin Freins P2 and Antonio Felix da Costa taking the win.
That was easy.
I know, that's why I texted you before saying, can I do 1 minute? Because I thought that might have been more of a challenge. But...
Oh, did you? I did. I must have completely missed that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, I'll stop that.
You did, still got... and I said, do a 2-minute challenge and make it sound good. Like that you sped through it.
Well, to be fair, it's a 40-minute race, so it's half the distance of a Formula One race. But one would say there's twice the action, so no excuse.
Yeah.
The plan is to try and get as close to 2 minutes as possible, but not actually go over. But it's fine. I'll normally only give you a minute anyway. So
looking.
what?
I'm just looking at your talking points. I'm just wondering.
Most of them was kind of pre-race. The one that really interested me was not actually about the race itself. Was the energy regs have changed post Valencia, haven't they? Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
No, it's not a massive change. There's an article on Autosport about it.
What is this the safety car?
So
bollocks.
What they've said is a statement supplied by the FIA to Autosport read, following what happened in race 1 in Valencia, the FIA and the promoter do not wish to see a similar scenario happen again. With that in mind, and to prevent any further risk of miscalculation in regard to energy consumption, it has been decided to no longer apply energy reduction if the safety car period ends beyond the 40th minute of a race. Right. This will grant teams an additional margin of error without detracting in any way from the spirit of Formula E, in which energy management is a key element. This will come into effect, immediate effect for the Monaco E-Prix and full Grand Prix circuit configuration this weekend. So,
we were pretty close to that this time.
Yeah, it must have been. I was going to say, it must have been close to that.
But they definitely reduced it this time.
Yeah,
they definitely reduced it. So talking about the safety car, which seems to be an ongoing annoyance of us on this podcast.
Or you specifically.
No, I don't mind. Sorry, the actual safety car, I don't mind. Right, like there are certain things that I just didn't quite get, and the safety car isn't the problem. In my mind, is this 45 minutes thing of. We were once again, okay, we didn't get to 40 minutes, but we were very close to getting to 40 minutes. I think we were 39, I think the safety came out at 36, 37. And then, oh my God, they were taking their time to get that car off, to freeze off.
Yeah, rolling it down with that rope.
It was a tug of war. It literally was a tug of war. But what I don't get is why should they not be adding time? Or instead of stealing battery power, should they not add time to the race? So for every lap that goes around, they add an extra minute of time. Because I think at the moment we're getting to the point where I looked at it and I was thinking, if they don't hurry up, we're going to have a real issue here. I think we only literally had 3 laps anyway at the end of the race with the safety car. I guess that it counts, but the time just really comparing a lap race where, okay, it doesn't matter that we've got 45, we've got 45 laps and, how it goes, whatever. Well, I don't know what's the Monaco Grand Prix normally. It's not that long.
Well, Formula 1 is 78 laps. I don't know how many you get in. Because it's so short. I don't know how many you get in Formula E normally.
But instead of, I just think it'd be better just to add time as opposed to taking away battery. It also elongates the race. No one's really worried about it. If we're adding minutes, unless you have a safety car for 45 minutes, which just seems pointless, you're only going to add a few extra minutes to the end of it. And I think it's just maybe a better system to keep the racing alive and faster, because at the moment they're losing time just going around in circles, which isn't wasting any. It's just, I don't get it,
Yeah, I agree.
And it's just, it doesn't feel like, I get if it's a lapped, in the Formula 1, it's a lapped race, but I think we can add time, so we should add time.
To be honest, I think
might solve this problem.
Safety cars are something that you see in the petrol formulas, and I think there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't adopt a go-karting mentality for Formula E. Why couldn't they just do? Basically, they don't do any energy reduction. They just do automated shutdown. So literally, the race director, when you get to a safety car situation, he just hits a red button and all the cars grind to a halt. And then when the track is cleared, they literally just press the button, and then the drivers then have to react quickest to basically it's a standing start, but from where you were on track. So they literally just stop on track, dead. I don't see why they can't. I mean, there's probably some technical reason why you can't. Surely. Yeah, there's probably some technical reason why you can't do that. But it's like if you have a red flag, you have to drive back round to the pits, and then you have to do a standing start. And again, safety car, like you say, you're just driving around. So why don't they just do that? Like you say, pause the timer, pause the energy, and literally just pause the race, fix the problem, and then restart from where it is. That way, you don't have people losing out on their sporting advantage.
Talking about
built up.
Okay, so keeping on with this safety car tirade that I'm on, why did they not bring it out for De Vries?
You have to
Why did
remind me
they
what
not bring
happened.
it out?
to
De
Vries.
Vries.
Yeah, you're gonna have to remind me.
De
Here.
Vries just stopped. So on the final lap, is this something that they like? I know we complained about it before, is to bring out the safety car, and we've had how many races finish on safety car? 2 this season, and we've had a number of starting at least. And De Vries stopped. I think it was De Vries. I might be very wrong. I'm sure it was a Merc. It stopped on the penultimate lap, possibly the final lap, and all that we got from race control was adhere to the yellow flag.
That was 3 laps from the end, I think. And then they managed to clear the car before the end of the race in the end. But they said they
did go past him once.
Yeah,
they did go past him
once.
It was like, why have we not safety car? It's such a dangerous place where he was.
I think in that one,
I couldn't quite understand.
I think on that one it was because he was off the racing line, and because of the trajectory of the corner, it was very unlikely that you would have got into him, and if you would have had any impact, it would have been at low speed. I think that's probably. I don't agree with it. I think if you've got a stationary car on track, then it's got to be a safety car to clear it, because you can't have marshals.
Yeah, and I understand why, possibly for drama, and we've seen the last race. It was a lot of drama. It was quite exciting. I understand as to why they possibly did that for the drama, but I did feel a bit like, oh, hang on. Like, he's sat there, no marshals can get out to him, nothing can happen to clear him, and you're then still putting yellow flags out to slow the down. So you're not gaining anything. I don't quite get where this is, why it was one rule for that. And then he started the car. So maybe they knew what the problem was and they thought he was going to be able to move off. But it just seemed a bit strange on that one compared to the rest of them. What about the attack mode issue?
What, as in
Vern?
What, where he went through the zone and didn't activate? Yeah, I was going.
Definitely went through the zone.
He
definitely went through the zone.
But remember, you have to go through the zone and hit the button on the steering wheel as you're going over the detectors as well.
Oh, so I didn't realise that. I thought it was...
Yeah, so you have to arm the thing by holding down a button on the wheel as you drive over the 3 sensors on the track, and then you release that once you're off, and then attack mode starts.
So even if you could hold the button, think you're off, because it was a very tight corner out of that. It wasn't like the rest seemed to be.
Pressed it too late.
A lot of them seemed to be a nice smooth corner to go up, but I didn't realise that there was a button that they had to press.
There's 2 things you got to do: button and drive over the sensors. So could have been problem with that as well.
So that probably was more of a button press issue.
Yeah, I might have pressed too late, let it go too early, who knows, but could have been that.
Okay, well, you learn something every day. I didn't know that. That's I kind of don't. I feel that's probably a bit of a. I don't know. It seems to me like that's just asking for trouble, because like the fans watching are gonna want to, like for me, that I was cheering for Vern in that race. I wanted Vern to win that race, and then when he went through the attack zone, I was just. For me, I was just like, well, why didn't he get it? It's surely it just comes across like it's a bit of a broken system, but maybe that's
and it doesn't help the presenters going, I don't know what happened. What happened? Like, why did that not happen? I was like, okay, but if you had Charlie on there that went, well, maybe he didn't press the button, and that's what we'll obviously have to find out after as to what happened. But there is a thing with button, and they were like, oh no, but Costa had this issue. I was like, well, okay.
Well, why didn't they just ask Karun Shandok? He knows what he's talking about. He annoyed me again in the Formula One this weekend. He annoyed me again, but I won't go
about that later. Then
I won't. I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to mention it. He just
all right. But what I did like talking about presenters was just everyone just sat around in the pits, not in the pits, on the start grid. You know, Vernon Kay getting down. Like, no one was standing up for Vernon Kay. It was like, you're coming down to me, big lad, if you want to chat to me. Like, it was Da Costa and De Vries both on the floor. It was like, yeah, no, you're all coming down. You're all sitting down there. But it was nice to have a grid. It was nice to have a grid walk again. I don't know if they've been doing that every race.
They started doing it now. I don't know about Formula E. I haven't noticed, to be honest. But they started doing sort of grid walks, I think.
But this was a proper grid walk. We had Vernon Kay out there, and the other lady who managed to get two drivers' names mixed up, which is quite funny.
Great.
But you know, I was like, where the hell did they drag this one from? You might as well have got me up there. I'd have had less clue. But yeah, like I quite liked actually the Vernon Kay pit walk, and like it was in like because to be honest, I don't actually watch like for Formula E. I'm one of those ones that just jump straight to the race.
Yeah, me too.
To be honest,
but I just for some reason I saw them on. Yeah, for some reason I was scrubbing through and I saw them just sat on the floor. I was like, and it was actually quite interesting. So yeah, those are my. But I mean that last lap from DaCosta and Evans.
Yeah.
And who else? It was just phenomenal.
It's fantastic defending from Evans, but miscalculated.
Well, yeah, not that well. When he was like what 2-3 behind. Oh, he third, didn't he? He was very close to ending up behind Jev at one point on that last lap.
Also, sorry if I spoiled it for you, Carl. We were talking on a group chat for the other podcast, and they were talking about driving into the boards in Parc Ferme for the 1, 2, 3 boards. About Costa drove in, knocked it over, and I said that. Oh, great! I didn't know who won the race, but now I do. Thanks. Sorry.
You know what? That really winds me up. That whole driving to the board. You're precision drivers, guys. Everyone, like whether you're Formula E or Formula 1, you're precision drivers. You managed to drive around corners. You managed to go that close to blinking walls. You managed to do everything. Why can't you stop in front of a sign? Like without hitting it over, you bunch of melons. Oh my God, what is wrong with people? Like you managed to go with that close. You managed to go that close to another car and not crash. And well, you actually managed to crash quite a lot in Formula E. They seem to be bump cars half the time. Yep. But actually, why can they not stop in front of a sign that's not moving? Like,
I'll tell you what,
Hamilton does it all the time, and it really winds me up.
That is one thing that I really do like about Formula E in the way the way the monocoques are designed and the aero, the way it doesn't just break up. It's obviously because Dallara make the chassis for Formula E, and or some of them. I don't know if
we're suddenly becoming very geeky at this.
But the way Tina Belli said to us about how they designed them to be that way, and so they don't break up, and it adds a little bit more weight, but it's much more secure, and I prefer that because I don't want to see like. Perfect example is in Formula 1, you saw Charles Leclerc make a very, very slight touch on Sebastian Vettel at the Brazilian Grand Prix at the end of 2019. And then all of a sudden, Vettel's got a puncture, Leclerc's got a broken suspension, and they're both out of the race. And it was the tiniest of touches. I know they were going at a stupid speed, but still, like the tiniest of touches, and then just the whole thing collapses. I'd rather, the whole kind of rubbing is racing type way of doing things, and a little bit of contact is almost encouraged. But you just can't. Because they'll just cause shards of carbon fibre everywhere, which is dangerous for everyone. So no, more of that. I'm up for that in future. A mandated materials to make the cars slightly more robust.
I did like the there was a bit where there was it birds? We were looking at a bird's camera, and then he just literally went up someone's backside, and it just went black as he went. I was like,
yeah, that was interesting though, because that was in qualifying when De Vries was trying to hold up Bird all the way around the lap, and I remember Evans getting pretty annoyed at that. But and then he was just going so slowly to try and make them run out of time, but then Bird just smashed into the back of him. So I mean, I guess
I'm not having any of this. I quite like that. I quite like it's sort of like it was interesting. They were talking about DaCosta and Jev as well about how they're being all paddy and friends this year. And then, like, they've always had a bit of a rivalry, these two, but there's a bit more gameplay, I think, cracking on this year. And not doing a Bottas and Hamilton, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure.
Well, they are kind of doing a Bottas and Hamilton at the moment. Because they're like rubbing each other and So so the top 10 then for the race was it was DaCosta who won, was it Frenz second, Evans third, Jean-Luc Vergne fourth, it was Gunter, Roland.
The top like 5 or 6 all stayed in their starting grid spots, but it didn't really seem like that. It seemed like it was a crazy race, but they all ended up where they started in the end.
Yeah. And so you got Bird 7th. I can't remember who was 8th now. Yeah, I should have looked that up, really, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Nick Cassidy, that's it. I just looked it up. Nick Cassidy was 8th, Alex Lynn 9th, and Degrassi 10th. So, yeah, interesting. So, have you got the standings to hand? If you don't, I can get them.
Just grab them.
Cool. It'll be interesting to see where things are after that, because it was Nick De Vries going into the weekend was leading the championship, and I don't think he is anymore after his very, very bad luck in the first race. Well, the only race of the weekend. We'll cut this bit out of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, only the guys watching.
There we go. Okay, right.
Right.
So,
What was that? What's that music?
Was that Magic Roundabout? Or was that something else?
No.
I can't remember now. Anyway, go on, Charlie.
So we got
What
P1
is that?
is Roman Frines, 62 points.
Jeopardy.
P2, Nick De Vries, 57. 3, Mitch Evans. Yeah, let's go 54. Fourth is DaCosta, 52. Bird, 5th, 49. Stoffel, 6th, 48. Burns, 7th, 46. Rast, 8th, 39. Roland, 9th, 35. Dennis, 10, 33. Matara, 11, 32.
Tight in that midfield.
Berline, 12, 32 also. 13, Miller, 30. 14, Sims, 24. 15, Lynn, 23. 16 is Gunter, 22. Cassidy, 17, 19. 18th, Lotterer with 18 points.
I thought he was higher than that.
No. Only scored points in one race this year. Degrassi, 19th, 14 points. Turvey, 20th, 13. City Camera, 21st, 12. Wyoming, 22nd with 11. NATO, 23rd with 11. And Lumpus, 24th with 5.
Crazy. Like NASA's just got the 1 point after... 11 points, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
After, looking like he was going to win. Was it Valencia? I think he looked like he was going to win, wasn't he?
He's been quite strong. He's been a bit of a weird one.
And I think that tune I was humming was Jeopardy, wasn't it?
That was it.
There we go. You don't know Jeopardy, do you, Charlie? No. It's a game show.
See, he doesn't remember the greats of Krypton Factor and...
Oh, I don't remember Krypton Factor.
Crystal Maze.
I remember it.
Krypton Factor was great.
I remember it, but I never really watched it. Oh, Gladiators was amazing.
Oh, this completely irrelevant. But they had Hunter from the Gladiators on the circle, which is this weird contest thing that I watched. And but he's got old and he's so funny. He's like this little old man. He's not that hunky man that he once was. He's bald.
That hunky man that he once was.
He was playing a woman. Don't ask. Anyway, there we go. Oh, Jet was the best, though.
Jet was lovely.
Jet was the...
Moving swiftly.
I can't remember any other females apart from Jet.
Yeah.
Hunter. Blaze. Blaze,
maybe Blaze. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, to anyone who's under 30, they're not going to have any idea what we're talking about here.
Such as that lad on there.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Hasn't got a clue.
Yeah. Anyway. So a new leader, Robin Frines. Has he won it before? Is he a previous champion? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
He's come second. He was second season 5. Off the top of my head. Maybe other.
Who's he drive for?
For Envision, yeah.
Who's for? Nice. And have they ever won?
Not as far as I know, but could be wrong with that.
So De Vries has dropped to second there. So Evans back up to third. That's good. And DaCosta fourth. So we've got 14.
Still, I'm up there with second. I love that.
Top 4 from 4 different teams, and there's 10 points separating them.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Like Formula 1.
That is really good. Well, this year, yeah, but not previously. So the constructors then, Mercedes EQ still leading, but just 2 points clear of Jaguar now.
Yes, come on.
They had a good weekend. DS Techeetah back up to third, dropping Envision down to fourth, despite Envision having the title, the points leader. That's insane. BMW up to fifth with 55. Audi Autosport down to sixth. Porsche down to seventh, and then Mahindra, Nissan, and Rocket down the bottom.
Which sounds about right, doesn't it?
Oh wait, you've got two more teams, Dragon and Neo as well. I forgot. This isn't Formula 1. You got 22. You got 24 cars on the grid. Not too.
I always thought Mahindra was Dragon. Shows how much I know. Genuinely, I thought Mahindra was Dragon. Maybe I've just put the Indian thing and Dragon thing together and just come up. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with dragons in India?
What dragons
and
are there?
Dragons are Chinese, let's be honest. So I don't even know how it makes sense that with.
I love a bit of racial profiling on a Tuesday night. It's fine.
No. What's the beer? What's the beer?
Kingfisher.
Isn't there an Indian beer? Oh yeah, Kingfisher and Cobra. What's the? Oh no, it's Sao beer, isn't it? Which is Thailand. That's got the dragon on the front.
Possibly.
I just stop talking now.
Yeah, you probably should.
Oh, Singer beer. Where's Singer beer from? That's the one with the dragon on the front.
You're asking the guy who's not old enough to drink beer.
Oh yeah.
And you never have you,
beer,
Charlie?
where are you from? No, Charlie, we do not condone drinking.
No.
Singer is the one with the dragon on. And where are they from? I don't know. Oh, it's Thai. Oh, for God's sakes. There we go.
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I didn't realise there was a team called Dragon.
Yes, it is Thai.
Really bad.
So what we got next? It's Mexico, isn't it? For Formula E?
Mexico.
I think so, yeah.
When's that?
Yeah, that is a little while off. 20th of June in Puebla. 19th and 20th, doubleheader.
Will you be doing? Wow. That's cool. Are they doing? Are Mexico is Mexico going ahead? I didn't think they were quite on the tick list.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't know. Well, we're supposed to be in. Oh no, it's Road America for Indy that weekend as well. So no, that's. I was thinking that Formula One were in America, but they're not. That's IndyCar. Just checking on my calendar here. So yeah, that does seem quite soon. But it seems like it seems like, you know, how late they put this calendar together. I would assume that all the events are going to go ahead, because it has been kind of they've waited until the last possible moment they can. You know, I mean, the season ends in August, so I can't see them. I mean, they've got 4 rounds left, all double headers, so I can't see them cancelling any now. I think it's
and then it's New York after that, isn't it?
After Mexico, it's New York, and then we've got London, and then we finish in Berlin.
I mean, yeah, they're all quite big sort of cities that I didn't think would be wanting big crowds and things coming into them, especially London and New York.
Well, there's not huge crowds, is there? I don't think it's, you know, you've got small numbers of people, mostly without fans at the moment. So,
I mean,
where's the New York one?
Is fans in London?
Oh yeah, definitely. That'd be great.
Is New York in the city, or is it outside it on an airfield somewhere?
It's in like a dock. It's on like a dock somewhere, like a pier somewhere.
Okay.
It's like it's
so it's not like
on the streets, you know. It's not packed up Times Square and it's like heading away.
It's not like Monaco on the streets.
Driving through the Bronx, avoiding gunshots and.
Could you imagine?
Oh god, yeah. And Mercedes are crashed. They got a gunshot, a puncher, due to a knife wound. Oh dear.
Right.
Anyway,
not that we're saying anything about our American friends.
Hey, it's everyone. The Bronx is a dangerous place, no matter who you are. It is a dangerous place. It's known to be that.
I've been to the Bronx. Have I been to the Bronx? No, have I been to the Bronx?
I didn't dare.
I don't think I have. I think I went to Brooklyn. I don't think that's not the Bronx, is it? But yeah, there we go. Right. Are we going to say goodbye to Charlie now?
I know. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Charlie? You're welcome to. Are we all good?
Not really, no. Unless anyone else can think of anything, I think we've covered it all.
I think so. Oh no, there's one thing we need to cover: is driver of the day and dick of the day.
Of course.
We can't forget that. That's the most important part of it.
Well,
So,
I nearly did forget it. So, yeah.
Driver of the day. Nominations. Who do we think?
Evans. Gotta go with my boy Evans.
Driver of the day.
You got
Fantastic overtaking. Good,
good.
Great defending. I mean, unfortunate that he lost out in the last lap, but defended really well in the last ones after the safety car.
And he got past because he didn't use his energy correctly, therefore did not drive as well. You could say that.
It could.
So I mean,
does that work? He's done worse. That he suddenly gets points for that. No, Da Costa for me.
I think Da Costa's he's done well.
Just for that last overtake.
It was a pressure overtake, and he did manage his energy better than Evans. So I think I would.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go ahead then.
So I think
I'll vote Charlie.
Yeah, we'll go with Da Costa then. Do we have a dick of the day? There was nothing really. The attack zone sensors.
No. I mean, if you're going for that, you might as well go for Verne because he screwed his race up. But I don't think there was any. Probably weirdly, who was the one that was in front of Sam Bird on qualifying that was holding everyone up? That's quite dickish.
It was. Yeah,
De Vries. Yeah.
Go on.
De Vries.
We'll go with De Vries then.
There we go.
I'm happy with that. That was
there we go.
And he was quite arsey about it afterwards, wasn't he? He was saying, "Oh, I was just, there was plenty of time. I don't know what they're moaning about. I was just doing my thing. They had loads of time to get through." So we'll go with De Vries. So there we go, Nick De Vries, you are a dick. Tony Felix Da Costa, you're drunk. Well done. Cool. Okay.
There we go.
Great. Well, we're going to move on to the Formula One, and
Formula 3
and Formula 3. Yeah. So I guess we'll see you in Mexico, Charlie.
See ya. Yep.
I wish we could see you in Mexico, Charlie.
Yeah, that'd be great.
See you later.
Bye.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, that's my bumper to say we're moving on.
No, we've got a move on moment.
We've got to move on. Got to move on.
Right. What are we going to talk about now? Oh, we've got to do. Oh, I don't want to do the next bit. Do I have to do this?
It's time to sell out.
Here we go again. Go on. This is an advert.
It's an advert. We're having an advert. This is sponsored. So have you been forced by your better half to finally sort out that mess of a garden through lockdown? Well, now things are opening up again. It's high time we looked after our own man garden.
And while in Ireland, we are not opening up. We are thoroughly closed. We can't do anything. We are properly locked down and still having to tender our gardens. So this month, Monkeyseat is brought to you by Manscaped, who claim to have the best below-the-waist grooming. I don't know who decided that. Who has a ranking of best below-the-waist grooming? To
be fair, who claim to be the best? So is their opinion?
Yeah. And so it's only an opinion. So we think that they're the best, but to be honest, I don't know any other companies that just specialize in below. Anyway, Manscaped is now available in Europe, along with us in Ireland and the UK. You're still in Europe, right? You're still in Europe, just not in the EU. And they were kind enough to send us a bunch of products to try.
And this is where I'm supposed to pull out said product, but I can't because it's upstairs and I forgot to bring it down. But this is the
I forgot the thing.
So no more live on podcast shaves this week, like last time.
But then we've only got the third generation. They've just brought out fourth generation.
Have they really
in America? I don't know if there's any.
Okay,
I saw that on their LinkedIn. There we go.
Well, their third generation,
fourth generation.
Their third generation clipper does feature a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. So I put the hedge in there and keep your nether regions
cutting edge. I mean, it might be. I mean, people call it the bush, but Jesus, there's no hedge.
Yeah. They've got a range of other products too. They've got the crop preserver, which is deodorant for your balls, and they've got the ball toner, which I'm not really sure what it does, but it certainly makes things a little bit fresher. But yeah, it's fine. I'm not sure what purpose you have to tone your balls, but there we go.
Oh, you know what? In my head, I've got the bowling ball shiner, the ball toner. Do you know the?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Great for the audio listeners. I'm very sorry, YouTube. You just had to be endured.
Just embarrassed my wife. Just embarrass my wife. Not only are you getting a great saving and off some premium products. Actually, how about I read my lines and not yours? As part of the agreement,
it's fine. You can read my lines. I don't mind.
We can offer all Monkeyseat fans 20% off and free shopping with the code Monkey, because we're original, at manscaped.com.
I'm just going to clarify.
If you're
gonna read your own lines, can you at least read them properly? Because you just told everyone they get free.
What did you say?
You said everyone they get free shopping at Manscaped. No, they get free shipping.
Free shipping.
They don't get free shopping. It's 20% off.
Well, you
and
get free shopping. You don't get charged to go into their store. It's an online store, so it's free. You can wander around as much as you want, browse, take some stuff off the shelf. If you want, please take 10 shavers off the shelf, and then that will mean they'll pay for us to have better equipment.
But just make sure.
And it means that Tom's face won't look like that, because he's like a little bright spot at the moment.
Yeah,
I won't sound like this. So his face needs it, and my voice needs it. So don't buy 10 shavers.
If you don't like my face, and if you don't like my face, and you don't like Carl's voice, then go to manscaped.com. Use the code Monkey at checkout to get 20% off. Thank you.
It's just like to clarify, my voice may just get better in your ears, as opposed. I don't know if anyone wants better me in their ears.
It would still.
If you wrong. Anyway, let's talk about Formula One and get off.
Yeah.
Balls. This is the most random thing we've ever done. Oh.
Yeah, it's fine. But just to clarify, we're not being paid to say it. They basically what the deal is. They provide us with products. We give an honest opinion of those products, and then talk about them in an honest way. And then if you guys go out and decide to buy a number of those products, 10. We need them to buy 10. Then they'll give us a paid sponsorship deal.
Look, it's win-win. They'll give us a paid sponsorship deal, and you get 10 ball shavers. I don't know why you need 10 ball shavers, but that's what's going to happen, and
Carl,
it's a win-win. So,
I get the feeling we now need to stop talking about this, because there's a message from your wife on the group, which has now said message retracted. So I think she's suddenly thought better of what she types.
What did she put in?
So I think we need to stop talking about balls now. Anyway.
Oh no, I haven't got that. It doesn't come up on mine.
It's probably because I'm logged in as the server. Anyway, we're gonna stop talking about nether regions now. So we had a race, and
we did. Thank God. Thank God we had Formula E, because this was the most boring race in the world.
It was not. It was not the most boring race in the world. When it comes to Barcelona, this was not a boring race. If this was the most boring race of the season, then I would be very, very happy. I'm gonna.
Quite boring, man.
It was. You had an overtake.
Let's do your minute chat. Let's go on. Let's do this. Go on.
I'm just going to turn it down a little bit because it's a bit loud in my ears before, so it'll be quite distracting when it gets to the inevitable timeout when I've gone too long. Right, here we go. I'm just going to have a mouthful of water because I've been talking a lot. Shock horror on a podcast, I know. Right, here we go. A good start for Verstappen, and he barged into the lead into turn 1, cutting across Hamilton sternly but fairly. Leclerc piled the misery onto Mercedes by passing Bottas round the outside to compromise his race strategy. Ricciardo also passed Ocon in the race in a race crucial overtake. Hamilton eased his tyres into the race and began to close back on Verstappen, who had pulled out an early gap. Just 7 laps in, and Yuki Tsunoda ground to a halt on the outside of turn 10, bringing up the safety car. Alfa Romeo seemingly forgot one crucial element in their resulting pit stop for Giovinazzi: air in one of the tyres. A 35-second pit stop at the end of the safety car period ended his effectiveness and his competitiveness for the rest of the race. Gasly got a 5-second penalty for starting the race in the wrong place. Ricciardo fought to keep Perez behind, and Hamilton kept pace with Verstappen. It was finely poised, and the relentless pace up front saw Verstappen started to come under pressure, and through fear of the undercut decided to pit from the lead. A slightly slow stop didn't affect the lead, as Hamilton lost time behind Mazepin and opted to go long. 5 laps later he emerged 6 seconds behind Verstappen, Verstappen and quickly obliterated that gap. A mix of 1 and 2 stop strategies throughout the field mixed up the midfield with Russell, Raikkonen and Stroll all occupying positions in the points at various times, and never a Haas, unsurprisingly. The pace up front was strong enough that Lewis was able to take a second stop and lose only 1 place to his teammate, but needed to close a 22-second gap in 23 laps even. He closed the gap at an incredible rate, and an expected last lap fight emerged 6 laps from the end, despite Bottas being less than helpful. Ricciardo's brave defence of 5th finally came to an end as Perez flew past, but with a much improved performance from the Aussie saw him finish ahead of Lando Norris for the first time. Alonso gave up on his one-stop strategy and made a late stop, putting him last, but he still managed to catch and pass Mazepin. Thanos then snapped his fingers and the inevitable happened. Lewis passed Max with relative ease and a huge tyre advantage to win, and comfortably with Bottas a distant 3rd, Leclerc 4th. There we go.
You sort of finished it, and then
you
got really distracted.
It still came up really loud, and it just completely threw me off. So I was like, I've just got 4 words to go. Just get to the end of this, Tom. Come on, you dick. Yeah. So I mean, considering that I've managed to, without putting too much filler in there, I managed to easily fill in that, and I didn't even talk about some of the battles like the Stroll battle, and there was battles all through the race.
I don't know.
Really,
it wasn't.
There was.
It wasn't like the most exciting race.
Only really one opportunity to go off and have a wee, and that was during the safety car.
Yeah, but there was only ever one opportunity to overtake on that track.
There's only really one overtaking place. But what I mean is that there was strategy. There was the variations in strategy, and then there was the constant pressure from Hamilton putting under Verstappen to try and get him to make a mistake, and then closing the gap. Go on.
The safety car really helped the strategy game, because I think it could have been a very boring one-stop strategy game had that safety car not come as early as it did.
Yeah, but equally as well, it actually played into the hands of the one-stoppers, because it meant that it gave their tyres a bit of a break. But it was too early to move on to a 2-stopper. But I do think, weirdly, Verstappen's pass on Hamilton on lap 1 actually won Hamilton the race, which sounds a little bit weird.
Why did you say that? Go on.
Because,
go on, explain.
So the reason is, the way I see things, like if Hamilton's kept the lead there, Verstappen is going to be in a position where Hamilton is, and Verstappen definitely had 1 lap pace, and he would have been able to stay close to Hamilton. Hamilton would have managed to pace, but Verstappen probably would have been the one that pulled the pin early for the undercut. Then at the end of the first stint, he's then coming out ahead, and then he's able to manage the race from there. So I just genuinely think that if Hamilton is behind Verstappen, he sits behind him, and then he decides to go long and then does the second stop, which we all knew they were going to do. I called it, about 15 minutes before it happened, that he was going to do the second stop, because they kept an extra set of medium tyres back, so they had a new medium set and a scrubbed medium set available to be used in the race. And they did that because they knew that if they were in second place, they were always going to be doing the 2-stopper, and that was obvious.
And I think, it was interesting in some ways then, because you'd never ever think, if from the average Joe, that a 2-stopper would ever be faster than a 1-stopper, bearing in mind just spending 40 seconds in the pits, 50 seconds in the pits, say, rather than 25 seconds in the pits. So that was interesting, that the 2-stopper strategy did speed up, and with the tyre strategy working on Hamilton there. But it did seem like, the pit stops were the gameplay here for a lot of them. Obviously, Giovinazzi screwed up that. Well, and everyone's saying, oh well, the tyres weigh the same. But if I pick up a flat tyre, I know it's a flat tyre compared to a non-flat tire. I don't know how I know it. I don't know how it feels it, but they are meant to be the clever people here, and they shouldn't. And everyone's like, oh, like the pit stop, the mechanic that worked it out was clever. No, because if he was clever, he would have worked it out before they even got to that point.
Well, I don't know how stiff. I don't know how stiff the compounds are on these tires, because we call them soft, medium, hard, but I'm sure their soft is imminently harder than our normal hard road tires. So it might be that they're.
But he punched it. He punched it, and it was definitely soft. You could see it wobbling in. It was definitely gone.
What I'm saying is it took a grown man the force of his full fist to punch down on it to show that it was flat. He couldn't just go to them, look, it's flat, like you would a bike tyre, because it's all floppy. So I think they must have quite a rigid structure. I mean, they have to be strong. If they're floppy, then all through the forces that they're being subjected to, they're just going to tear apart. They've got metal weaved all through them. So I think they have solid structure.
But then whose fault is that? Not because they are.
It was a valve failure. It was a valve failure.
Okay.
It was a complete deflation because there was a valve failure.
So So the tyres must be checked about 3 or 4 times. We see them being checked as they come off the bloody tyres when they all get scanned in and checked that they're all okay. You know. So I presume that wasn't a brand new tyre.
Well, yeah, it would have been. It was brand new. You could see it still had the compound on it.
So why was the new set not checked? And
I think
surely those tyres must go through 3 or 4 checks, because that's very unfair on Giovinazzi when he was actually in a winning place. And who's going to get the blame for that? Because
I don't know. I mean, it could have been that it's been overinflated and it's been in the tyre blankets too long. It may well be because those tyre blankets heat them to 100 degrees. So it may well be that there's been a fault with the tyre blanket and it's overcooked the tyre, and as a result, it's made the valve fail. It's possible. I don't know, but it's possible.
So then So where does the buck stop with that? Because that ruined Giovinazzi's points chance.
Wow.
And who should that?
Did it though?
I say chance. I say chance.
Yeah.
I didn't say points. I said points chance.
Yeah.
Let's be honest there. Points chance. But
the same chance that I've got of having an open relationship with Heather Graham, but that's fine.
Who the hell's Heather Graham? Anyway, no idea.
I
feel like I'm old and don't. Who's Heather Graham? Anyway, Laura will know. I don't get I've lost my track of thought now. Thanks for that.
That's all right.
But I don't who. I wonder, will Pirelli get a fine for that? I wonder whether that, I feel sorry for Giovinazzi and whether, and where all these, I love it when people keep getting fines and points, such as the idiot at the back of the track. Giving him points and fines is pointless, literally.
Well, he's pointless. And he will be all season, most likely.
Quite a lot of people are pointless on that track. And, but anyway, so that was one thing that I didn't quite understand. The whole Bottas Hamilton thing. What's your opinion on that?
As in what, when he held him up?
Yeah. Did he hold him up?
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. There was.
Did he hold him up?
There was perfect opportunity to let him through, and he didn't. And even when he did let him through, he still turned into the corner when he could have made things a lot easier. Basically,
but did he hold him up? At what point? Sorry, holding him up is Mazepin, who's not contending.
So let's put it this way.
Hang on. No.
Okay.
Let me finish my sentence here. Holding up is Mazepin being a douche at the back, holding up people going nowhere fast. Him going nowhere fast, and them not in the same race as him. He is in the same race. He's in the same race for 1, 2, and 3. That is the same race. Whether Hamilton is faster, I don't care. That is the same race he's in. He still has a chance, and he doesn't want to be. He needs to be consistently number 2. Hamilton going past pushes him consistently into 3rd there. That's not even where he wants to be. He wants to be winning races, not consistently in 3rd. He wants to be consistently 2nd or winning. And Hamilton has screwed that up for Bottas. Go on. I'll let you now have your...
Yeah, right. So Hamilton was ahead of Bottas on track anyway, because he had far, far more pace and he was a lot quicker. He made the pit stop and was going for the race victory, and Bottas, as a member of that team, has a responsibility to act in the best interests of the team as a whole. He was in 3rd, genuinely on merit. That's where
does he though, when he's not going to be there next season?
So he's still employed by them at the moment. He was in 3rd, genuinely on merit. That's where his pace was.
How did that go?
He's there genuinely on merit. That's what his pace was, and Hamilton then made a pit stop to then attack at the end of the race. He was 2.5 seconds a lap quicker than Bottas at that stage of the race. And then when he spent half a lap behind Bottas, I know because I was spending every second of that race watching certainly after the second pit stop, watching the timing screens and watching the lap charts. Of course you were. Because that's me, that's what I do. And he would have gained through the midsection about 0.8 of a second on Verstappen. He lost 1.5 seconds to Verstappen through the midsection, which means he actually lost nearly 2.5 seconds to Verstappen because he would have been making about 0.8 had he not had to pass Bottas. So he's lost his teammate over 2 seconds to his rival. Now, if at the end of the race they were saying they expected it to be a last lap battle, if that had ended up the case, so his tyres had gone off a little bit, it got to the last lap and he just missed out on DRS and he didn't pass him and he sat behind him, Bottas has cost his team a victory through his direct actions. So yes, I know it's not in the spirit of racing because he was.
But then
he was ahead of him on track. Yes, I understand that, but he was given a direct instruction by his team not to hold him up because he's in a different race. And when you're trying to slow someone up behind you, you are affecting.
He's only in a different race. He's only in a different race because of the way the pit stops were landing and how that was working.
No, he was in a different race because he was fundamentally slower than Lewis Hamilton. That's why he was in a different race, because he just was not quick enough. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the reason he was in a different race to Hamilton was because Leclerc overtook him around the outside on turn 2. That's why he was in a different race, because he got bogged down behind Hamilton, allowed Leclerc to go past, said himself, didn't see him, wasn't looking in the mirrors. Well, you bloody should be. It's the start of a pig-in race. So he's allowed Leclerc past him. He then couldn't get past him. By the time he did get past him, he wasn't quick enough, and he still couldn't catch up to them. There was a gap in there. Hamilton dropped into the gap just behind Bottas, coming through a lot quicker, and he's not racing him at that point. And if you're in a race with somebody, or rather, if you're in a race and somebody's coming through and you're trying to actively slow them down, you're slowing yourself down and affecting your race as well. And I know that he was safe in third place.
I don't know if he was actively slowing down, but yeah, he was. He was
driving
third.
He was driving defensively, and then he turned into the corner in a way that was not the optimal line. It was a line to make things difficult for Hamilton.
But this seems to be how it always is with Bottas, that he's always having to give way to Hamilton.
Or maybe he should be better then.
But then, why is Hamilton behind him? Because of the way the pit stops were landing.
No,
because of the way
he changed to a 2-stopper to attack. They went for an aggressive strategy. Because if he was, this is what I'm saying. I guarantee you, if Verstappen hadn't got past Hamilton on turn 1, and at that point in the race, Hamilton's got track position on Verstappen, Verstappen's the one that dives into the pits, not Hamilton. I know he didn't have an extra set of mediums available, but they would have to try something different to try and get him ahead of him, because Hamilton wouldn't have been able to respond to that because it would have been too late. Verstappen would have got the undercut. There's no way is Hamilton going to jump out of the lead to then try and close down the gap just because it will give him slightly better tyres at the end when he's already in the lead. He would just try and manage it to the end. I'm not saying that Verstappen definitely would have won the race had he not have got past Hamilton at the start, but I'm just saying that it's made things. It's basically meant that Mercedes would have had plan A, B, C, D, E, and F. And plan A was, or plan B probably was, if we lose the lead at the start, we're going to 2-stop, and this is how we're going to do it. But plan A would have been, if it would have been relying on 5 or 6 different things happening. So the fact that the Verstappen took the lead, that meant there was only one thing they could do. They had clarity of thought, and they just went with it, and it worked perfectly. But Bottas hasn't affected the result, but to be honest, Bottas hasn't affected anything for years because he's just not good enough to affect anything. So it's fine.
Okay, just jumping on here with Darren and Laura here in our chat here.
Oh, are they? I've not seen any of this.
Darren's saying, how can Lewis catch up 20-second gap twice and Bottas languish 10 seconds behind?
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't quite understand the math there either. And obviously you're the time code freak there. And then Laura's saying that Bottas has the right to uphold him. It's his race, which is interesting.
I admit that it's
sort
not,
of my opinion.
Yeah, I admit that. Okay,
it's hard to be a teammate.
Granted, if that is any other car on the track, he doesn't let Hamilton through. But you're supposed to do what is best for your team. He's an employee of Mercedes-Benz. It's basically the argument we were having about Russell before, but Russell at that point is in the Imola crash was employed by Williams, so that's why it was a bit more muddy water. Although he's employed by Mercedes, he drives for Williams, so it's a slightly different scenario. Whereas this is part and parcel. It was an instruction from the team. You're not. At no point was Bottas going to be able to keep Hamilton behind him. So to slow down his own race, to try and slow down Hamilton's, was pointless. If that was for the lead, absolutely. But it wasn't for the lead. The race win wasn't there for Bottas. Hamilton had completely outraced him, and there was absolutely nothing to allow. Bottas' third place was the best he was going to get due to his performance. So why reward him for that by saying yes, fine? But yeah, I get what you mean. Like, it's not racing. It's not pure racing where you're. But again, he was never going to hold him behind him anyway. So the Alain Prost approach is always, the professor would do what's best for his race, and if that meant that he had to let someone go without holding them up or without holding himself up, then he would do it. That's what Bottas really should have been adapting there. But again, it made absolutely no difference to the race result or his.
Yeah,
so it doesn't really matter.
The thing with Bottas is that he's always second fiddle. He's always going to be second fiddle.
He's second fiddle because he's not good enough.
Team. Well, he needs to lead that team. Who is good enough? And no one is ever going to be good enough in that team, because in the same way, no one is ever going to be good enough in the second seat of the Red Bull, because you're fighting against Max and you're fighting against Hamilton. And that's the issue there, that those roles should be for people like juniors that are going for it. So they shouldn't be filled with the Chicos. They shouldn't be filled with Jacko, the cheeky times, and they shouldn't be filled with Bottas's, who are too good. What would have been really interesting if you mix the field up completely is the second driver. They do have a first and second driver, and that's how it is, and everyone knows that's how it is. And you put a Russell in with the Hamilton, you put a Latifi in with Bottas, do you know what I mean? Is that you start mixing the teams up with one decent driver and a second driver, and it's all about the support, and you'd have so many more decent races if you had people in different
I don't think
cars.
you would, though. I think you want to, because I guarantee if they're racing flat out for the win, nothing gets said. And by saying having a first and second driver, all you're doing then is you're giving the team license to play with the result. You've then got people who are going to be further back.
At least we know we're playing with the result.
Yeah, but I guarantee.
We know we're playing with the result. At the moment, we don't know we're playing with the result, and they are playing with the result. There's definitely a gameplay.
It's no gameplay. He just told him don't hold him up, and he held him up. That's what it was. I don't think it needs to be turned into something bigger. I don't think it needs to be made into anything bigger than it is. At the end of the day, he had a bad race. He wasn't on the same track as Hamilton, and he just held him up when he probably shouldn't have done. But it's, as Toto said after the race, we'll probably have a chat about it, but it won't be a slanging match. It'll just be a jovial chat and just to talk about what happened. But it didn't. I mean, that wasn't okay. I'm paraphrasing there. But it's just going to be
a jovial talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a really bad impression.
Get in the chopper.
Get in the chopper. Let's have a jovial chat.
Will Lewis Hamilton be signing next year? He'll be back.
He'll be back.
I'm sure millions of people
have made that joke. Baby.
Yeah. I'm sure millions of people have made that joke before, so we should probably move on.
And talking about moving on, let's move on. I'm bored of talking about Boston Hamilton.
Yeah. Let's talk about another shit number 2.
Let's talk about.
Whoops. Sorry, YouTube. Let's talk about another rubbish number 2.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sergio Perez.
Was he that rubbish? I mean,
he qualified 8th.
What is going on there?
Apparently he had hurt his shoulder.
Aww.
He had hurt his shoulder, and that affected his qualifying. He qualified in 8th. He made up a couple of positions and finished 5th? I think it was 6th, 5th. He passed Ricciardo, didn't he? So 5th behind. But he's finished behind a Ferrari. For God's sake,
made up.
He's got
right. For starters, can we all stop? Going that Leclerc and Sainz are out driving that Ferrari, because they are not. That Ferrari is a better car. No, but on other podcasts, on other things that I see on the media, that Ferrari is as good as previous. They're not as good as last year. Sorry, not worse than last year. Not the same car as last year. They have improved. It is a decent car, and they have decent drivers in it. Let's not think, oh, he sat behind a Ferrari, because that Ferrari is now contender for second and third, along with the McLaren. Those are the two, and even the Alpine.
Ferrari are not in the fight for second. Ferrari are not in the fight for second. They're in the fight for third and fourth.
Sorry, you're telling me they're not in the fight for second.
Yeah.
Yet they're getting into fourth and fifth and sixth.
Yeah.
They have to be in the fight for second, because otherwise,
because Perez and Bottas aren't performing.
Okay, grand. But that car, so they are in the fight for second, because you're agreeing with me. And Bottas is being dragged through by that car, so he's getting thirds because of that. The car, and the Merc is amazing, and the Red Bull is a lot better than last year.
The Red Bull and the Mercedes are very, very close. They are the first and second cars.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
The fight is
and
the third,
Bottas is a better driver, and the Bottas is a better driver than. He's a better driver than. Sorry, when I say I'm talking about championship, I'm not talking about the fight for second for Verstappen. I'm talking about the championship. Not the championship, the constructors' championship here.
Yeah.
So that in my mind, Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull are in the fight for the second place of the constructors' championship. Okay, it's a long shot, but I think hello, my house suddenly appeared. If it carries on with Chico time being back in time, then we need to then it's and the Ferraris are fourth and fifth constantly, or third and fourths. Where are we going with this? They're going to be making those points up versus the Verstappen's just dragging them through. Hamilton, because of the way the point system works, is flying off and is dragging Bottas along with him. Verstappen in second, where the points are dramatically less, is not being able to drag his teammate through as much. With the third and fourth together, compared to someone needs to do the maths here, and I may be very wrong, but the third and fourth together, if Ferrari gets more third and fourths, then Red Bull gets second and sixth at the moment. At the moment, in my mind, the Ferrari is going to do better. Someone needs to do the maths that's cleverer than me.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
But do you get what I mean?
You got 18 points for second place. It goes
and 20, what's third?
It goes 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. So the further you get down. Okay, so you're saying they're in the fight for second, right? So you've got Mercedes leading the Constructors' Championship on 141 points. You've got Red Bull on second on 112. McLaren, 65. Ferrari, 60. You're telling me they're in a fight? 60, 65 versus 112. They got double the points nearly. They're not in a fight for second. And that's with a second driver who's not up to speed yet.
Okay, grand. Okay, I may be talking out of turn. I may sound like some other.
It's not out of turn. It's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, but it's wrong.
But you know, okay, it's. Do you know? I'm not trying to. I maybe because of the point system, and I'm very wrong in that sense. But you get what I mean. That it feels like okay, they might not get the actual figures, but more if you did the math of if you could do the math of more thirds and fourths compared to.
So what you're saying is if it was least number of points won and you got 1 point for first, 2 points for second, 3 points for third, and you got the least points wins, you're saying that. I mean, we need to work out the maths, but yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. You need to work out the math.
All I'm saying is that the Ferrari car is a good car this year.
Yeah, it's a good car. It's the third best,
and
joint third best,
and has two great drivers in, along with the McLaren, who has 1.5 great drivers. He is coming on. Ricciardo is coming on. He'll get there. He's still getting used to the system. I'm not too worried about Ricciardo. I think you might be, but I'm not.
I'm not worried about Ricciardo. I think he's already almost there. He could potentially finish ahead of Lando this year. I still think he could finish ahead of Lando.
But will he finish ahead of the Ferraris?
Maybe. It's unlikely. He won't finish. I don't think he'll finish ahead of Leclerc. I think Leclerc is probably going to be fifth in the championship.
Solid third now. So, do you reckon Perez is still going to beat him?
I think he'll finish fifth, and I think he probably will finish fifth in the championship. I mean, again, you look at the championship there. You've got Hamilton 94, Verstappen 80, Bottas 47, Norris 41, Leclerc 40, Perez 32. He's had a bad few races. He will get better. I'm pretty sure he will be ahead of Leclerc. He's only 8 points behind Leclerc, and Leclerc's had some great results, and Perez hasn't had any great results yet, and he will.
I mean, Norris is doing his usual amazing beginning of the season. I wonder if he can hold it up. He's done that the last couple of seasons now.
I hope so. I mean, I hope he can. I hope he can.
Why does he seem to lose it? Why does he? He's done that last 2 seasons, if I remember correctly.
No, it's kind of more his
great opener
last season. I mean, I think what it was last season when he started.
The season before, he was on the podium on the first
race. No, he wasn't.
Race, and then...
No, last season he was on the podium. Not? Season before he wasn't. Carlos
was
the podium the previous season.
All right.
No, his first season he was a bit up and down, a bit inconsistent. I mean, he's got better. He's got better every year, absolutely. But last year, I think it was more his point. He got the podium at the start of the year, and he had a couple of good results. But then he kind of maximised what he could out of the car at that point where he was in his journey with the odd box office result. Yeah. Carlos Sainz lost a couple of key results and then ended up finishing just a couple of points ahead of Lando. It wasn't like, you have one bit of bad luck from Lando taken away and he would have finished ahead of Sainz, but Sainz had a lot of bad luck in the first half of the season. But Lando finished really strong last season. He was a match for Carlos at the end of last season. In fact, he was probably outscoring Sainz at the end of last season. So that's why I think they're both very, very close. And Leclerc is outstanding and Sainz is close to him. And he's hit the ground running. He's worked really hard. Ricciardo, not quite there yet, but very close. He's getting there. I mean, I predicted him for a podium for this week. I think he'll do very well at Monaco.
Why has Sainz settled in better in with Ferrari seat that we talked about last year, compared to Ricciardo settling into McLaren, which is sort of what we expected?
Ricciardo has been talking about how he's effectively been going back to school. You hear his chats with his engineer, and they're all very much, okay, apply the brake a little bit less through this turn, and start the brake harder and then release it a bit during the turn. And he's basically being taught how to drive that car from scratch. Whereas Norris, it's almost radio silence because he's so tuned into that car. I'm sorry, not
Norris. Sainz. What I'm saying
is the comparison between Ricciardo and Sainz.
Okay.
Is based on if you compare Ricciardo to his teammate and Sainz to his teammate. That's what I'm saying. Norris is tuned in to the car. Ricciardo isn't tuned into the car. He's still having to... It's not instinctive yet. And also the car is vastly similar to last year. So Norris is obviously going to be a lot more tuned in with it because he's been driving it for a year already.
But then Sainz to Leclerc...
Sainz, yeah, same thing. But Sainz, I think he's worked harder, is the honest answer. Apparently, all through his off-season, all through his off-season, he was turning up at the factory and learning about the car and doing so. He's spent more time in the factory than any Ferrari driver in history over the last 6 months. And to the point where the engineers are like, we've got nothing for you to do. He's like, well, give me something to do, I'll make the tea. He's just there, just learning and being there and talking to them and understanding and becoming part of that team. And they love him. And that's got to have a big impact.
It just seemed like Ferrari is back to this great team again. They're
getting there.
I'm waiting for it all to fail again. But it feels like there's a happier family. There's a happier team. Was Vettel the issue?
It's easy to talk about how good someone is when they've come from a bad place. Like McLaren have come from a bad place, and now we're talking about how good they are. But it wasn't that long ago they were winning races, and they're not winning races now. If you'd have said to me in 2012 that McLaren in 2021 would be getting the odd podium, I'd have laughed and said, well, no, they're going to be winning races and championships. But that has not been the case for a long time because they've had such a dramatic fall, and now they're on their way back up. It's the same with Ferrari. They are on their way back up. But Ferrari of 2019, were the class of the field. 2017, they had an equal car of Mercedes, was quicker than Mercedes at various points. 2018, they categorically had the best car. And 2019, they started with the best car, but then Mercedes caught up. And they, like this year...
2020 obviously was an issue.
Yeah, and like this year, you saw 2019.
They had their cheating issue.
Yeah, 2019, you saw they were the quickest car for the first 6 races, but Mercedes managed to get 5 1-2s at the first 6 races because Ferrari kept throwing it away.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is happening this year with Red Bull.
I do think it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Red Bull just seems to be throwing it away as well. And I mean, even themselves just went, "Oh, it's gonna be like Hungary."
Oh, they gave up.
Like, what the hell was that about?
But you know what? The stupid thing with that, right? Red Bull had a brand new set of soft tyres available to them. At the point where Hamilton has come in for the mediums, at that point, he's got to put a lot of pressure on Verstappen. Okay, so they know exactly what's likely to happen. As soon as they see the first couple of laps, they see the pace that Hamilton's got on those tyres. Tell Max, right, push, throw caution to the wind, eat those tyres up, go as fast as you can. After about 10 laps, bring him in for the softs. Then he's got about 15 laps to catch and pass Hamilton, and he's only got about a 10-second lead because he would have only had like a 10-second lead at that point. And then with 15 laps to go, on those soft tyres, Hamilton's been pushing, trying to catch up to him. They're going to be at least a second a lap quicker, and then they switch it round. Verstappen's the attacker, not Hamilton. But they just gave up. They said, "Oh, they've done it again. Bloody hell! Look at us. Oh God, woe is me." Yeah, Jerry. Yeah, Jerry. They've done it again. Oh, sorry. I'll cuddle you tonight in bed. We'll spoon.
Oh, you even referenced Jerry Halliwell. The wife will be happy. I just don't get what happened with Red Bull. I just don't get it. It was just like, what is the issue with them? And I can't get my head around why did they give up? Was it also that Perez was so far behind them they didn't think they could hold Bottas off?
Yeah, Perez not being there was definitely a contributing factor because they had nothing. They couldn't do anything to respond because Perez. If Perez had been with Bottas, then Mercedes don't do that because Mercedes thought that Hamilton would catch Verstappen with a lap to go. That's what they thought was going to happen. Yeah. So if Perez is fighting with Bottas, they do not bring Lewis in because they don't want him trying to get through that fight because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then you end up having a second and a fourth instead of a second and a third.
Yeah. Which
so that's the problem. That's the problem they've got. And as well, Verstappen's pace.
Why did they not go for it?
Verstappen's pace at the beginning as well. He put down a hell of a pace. And Hamilton dropped away a little bit at the start. He just, gradually brought his tyres back into the race and then started attacking him later in the race. And if he hadn't have gone off at that pace, if he'd have gone slow in the slow bits where you can't overtake and then quick enough to keep Hamilton behind him, keep the gap down to like 7 or 8 seconds back to Leclerc, they're not going to do that. Hamilton's stuck behind him. Yeah. Then all they got to do is go for make sure they go slightly earlier than normal. And because of the gap back, as soon as that gap opens up to 21 seconds where they can make a pit stop, they bring Verstappen in. He's got the high ground. He's the lead car. So they can do that. And if they just manage their pace a little bit and go a little bit slower in the slow bits where you can't overtake, they could have won that race. But they made several mistakes today. They went too fast at the start. They didn't bring Verstappen in for a second stop for softs later on in the race, and they ballsed up the pit stop, which is rare for Red Bull. I mean, at the end, it didn't really have a massive impact on the race, but even so, that's 3 errors from Red Bull today, Sunday. But
that's a couple of days ago. Yeah. It was very un-Red Bullish. I don't know what was going on with them. They didn't seem to have a team plan. They didn't seem to have. They sort of gave up quite early.
I think they had a plan, but the plan they just seemed to have one plan, and that was it.
But then it was like, that you always get over the radio. This is plan B. Plan C is okay, or whatever. Plan C plus 4 or whatever bollocks. But it didn't seem to have any of that from Red Bull as to what plan A, B, C, D, note A, B, D, whatever. It was just a bit like, we've got Verstappen. He's just going to win the race, and that's going to be the best that we can do.
Yeah.
And it's just like, should we not worry about Perez? Should we not worry about if we get second and how that works, or what happens if Bottas suddenly pulls ahead of everyone, or it just seemed like
that annoed me. It did annoy me.
It just seems a bit unsporting as well.
Yeah. So should we have a look at should we have a look at predictions then?
Go on.
I haven't actually looked at it yet. I'm just going to have a look at it now. So you had Verstappen to win? No. Hamilton fastest lap? No. What place did Latifi finish? First retirement, Perez, so that's a no. Winner, I had Perez, no. Fastest lap, Hamilton, no. And first retirement, Sainz, no. Right, we're doing well. So we both got 0 at the moment.
I don't like this new formula, Tom. We don't seem to get any points.
Yeah. I need to have a look at what the finishing order was, where Latifi finished. I've got it now. It's fine. So Latifi.
I've got it too.
16th.
Who got 16th? Because there was 16th, 17th, 18th.
I had 16th. You had 18th. So, cool. That's the first point I've got for random.
Laura had 17th.
Laura had 17, so that's no. She had Hamilton for fastest lap, no. She had Verstappen for winner, no. And Raikkonen for first retirement, no. Sorry, Laura. No points.
I didn't realise Lando Norris got lapped.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying.
Insane. Eighth got lapped.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they're not in the fight for second. Because Mercedes and Red Bull are so much quicker. That's how much faster they are.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is really insane.
I've already been through the standings pretty much, so we won't bother on that. But we do need to talk about driver and dick of the day. What do we think? Driver of the day, I'm going to stick with what I said on Grid Talk, which is Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it was a good race by him. He was pretty... Yeah, he's out driving the car.
Yeah. The actual winner was Lewis Hamilton, surprisingly, which he doesn't normally get driver of the day. I mean, he apart from being passed at the start, he did do a very good race. But Leclerc for me,
he got passed at the start. But he did get past the start. I don't know who's doing this driver of the day. Did I see in some weird world that Mazepin got driver of the day for as number 4?
Yeah, he got the fourth most votes. But the problem is with Mazepin, he's meme worthy. So basically, there's a whole group of people that are voting for him to get driver of the day every race. Like apparently, he actually did get driver of the day because it's funny to see him there. Apparently, he did get driver of the day in the last race, but that's why they didn't announce who it was. They said, "Oh, it's Perez," but they didn't say who came second, third, and fourth. They just said, "Oh, yeah, Perez driver of the day." And apparently, the rumor is it's because it was Mazepin, and they just they said, "No, we're not doing that," which they also did once with Rio Haryanto, the Indonesian, when basically the whole of Indonesia voted for him. And Robert Kubica as well. I think he got driver of the day once when he.
That is hilarious.
Was it Robert Kubica? No, say it was Nico Hulkenberg for the British Grand Prix when he didn't even start. And everyone voted him for driver of the day when he didn't even make the start. That was the one I was thinking of. So we're going Charles Leclerc for driver of the day. Dick of the day?
Yeah. Sorry. Who was dick of the day? Who's you've gone for?
I'm going to propose Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, it's more of a weekend thing, just for his behaviour over the weekend. Did you hear what he said?
I get that. Yeah, this car is effing useless.
Yeah, but did you hear what he said afterwards? In the pen. No. In the pen afterwards, he said, "Oh, you said your car."
We are live on radio.
You said your car is useless. Did you want to elaborate more on that? And he basically said, "Oh yeah, there's just what I try and do to the car doesn't make any sense, and the feedback that Gasly gives just doesn't relate to my car. I think Gasly's got a different car to me." It basically said that the team is saying they've given him a worse car than Gasly. It's like, yeah, dude, you can't say that. You can't say that live on air. You can't criticise your team like that. You can't insinuate, bloody get your tinfoil hat out. That's just you can't do that. So that's why I'm nominating him. I don't mind if it's not him. If there's a better option, that's fine. But I feel he should be nominated for that.
I mean, there's obviously the token idiot at the back.
Yeah, he did, but this wasn't his biggest. It wasn't his most dicketry.
No,
he has been worse.
Dicketry. I like that word. Dicketry.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have a huge amount of dictitis.
Yeah. Nikita Mazepin.
No. Nikita Mazepin. No,
I had an email from someone called Nikita earlier. It really freaked me out. I was like, "What's Nikita?"
Yes, there are other Nikitas. I'm just trying to think as to Was there any other?
Tsunoda,
The only thing
Mazepin.
I don't want to give Tsunoda a dick because although he was a dick at the weekend, he wasn't a dick in the race, and he didn't prove his dickishness in the race.
Yeah.
But was
Fair
there
point.
anyone else that was a bit dickish? But then there's no one else that was overly dickish
No.
on this race. No, well, Bottas.
You could say Bottas, yeah, but again, it's not. I think that was, yeah. I mean, that was just a little bit naughty as opposed to being a dick. Yeah, it's between. Yeah,
It's quite a
between
dick
those two,
move.
really. Yeah. I'm not.
Dick move.
I'm not precious about Tsunoda being dick. I just feel he needed to be nominated. We can put Bottas if you want to go for Bottas.
I mean, just looking at the. Laura's gone with Hamlin, I think, on the chat, and Darren's gone with Gasly.
Yeah, Gasly. Extra E in there, mate.
What happened? What happened with Gasly?
He overshot his. He overshot his start.
I mean, that
start
wasn't.
position.
That wasn't a dickish thing. That was just.
Wait, hang on.
Stupid.
So these best drivers in the world should know where the front of their cars are. They shouldn't drive into those number one barriers.
I mean,
that's
to be
not
fair,
dickish.
though,
That's not dickish.
To be fair, the sign is in front of their face. They can see
Busted.
that thing. The lines are on the floor. The lines are on the floor, and you have to look slightly over to the right. It's
Yeah,
like
but you got
it's
the
like
yellow
my wife
line.
looking for the remote.
You
Like
got
my
the
wife
yellow
looking for the
line.
remote.
You got-
She just has to look over to the right.
Yeah, but he missed it by like
Go on.
half a foot. He missed it by like that much. This wasn't even close.
Sorry, did Verstappen not miss it? Or are we not worrying about that one?
Yeah, not as much as
Anyway.
that. Anyway,
Right. Anyway, okay. It's still not a dick move. It's not driving into a bloody sign that we can all see. Do you know what I mean? And it's still not.
all right. Okay, I'm calling it. It's Bottas because we've got to do F3 as well. So, right, De Vries or Bottas for weekend? De Vries or Bottas for Dick of the weekend? I'm going to say De Vries.
De Vries.
Yeah. And driver of the weekend.
Although De Vries wasn't in the race, but we won't worry about that.
That's fine.
The rules have changed.
Yeah, Da Costa or Leclerc for driver of the weekend?
I
I think Leclerc.
think Da Costa.
Mm.
I think Da Costa because it was a better race. It was more interesting.
Okay,
Um,
you've convinced me.
I
We're going
just
Da
think,
Costa.
and he did that final take,
Yeah,
and it was a
I mean,
very
to be
close
fair,
race
Charles
the whole
Leclerc.
way through.
To be fair, Charles Leclerc did one overtake over the whole weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
yeah,
well, how many did Da Costa do? 3 or 4
quite a few.
within minutes. It wasn't. It just feels a better. It just seemed to be a better drive and a better,
Yeah.
and more exciting race. That one.
So,
So I think
Nick
we're
De
gonna have to-
Vries feels he's the first driver all year to have a driver of the weekend and a Dick of the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We've had
There we go.
we've had Norris, De Vries, Hamilton, and Da Costa for driver of the day, and Dick of the day. Oh wait, no, sorry, we got more than that. Stewarding has got 2 Dick awards. He is still the first person to have a driver and a Dick.
Sorry. The online forum isn't happy. Just so you're aware.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Screw you.
We don't care. Screw you. You're not live. You're not on with us. You're more than welcome to come on. So come on whenever, and we can argue it properly.
I'm moving on.
Right. Everyone else goes. Oh, that was really bassy.
Yeah, and you were
Doesn't
really
sound
delayed on that as well.
That
It's
was
fine.
really weird.
It's fine. It will go in post. It will sound better in post. So we've got the F3.
In post, you sound like Phil
Do it in
Well.
post, yeah.
Do it in post.
So we've got a new season of F3, and it's a bit of a
Oh,
new...
sorry. Just breaking news. The Turkish Grand Prix is officially cancelled according to Turkish media.
Turkish Grand Prix, really?
Yeah, according to Turkish media, it is cancelled. This is coming from some unconfirmed.
Oh, so it's officially unconfirmed. Okay, fine.
Well, this is coming. Well, so this is coming through some unconfirmed. This isn't F1, but they're saying on Turkish media that it is cancelled. Unfortunately, my Turkish isn't that good, so I can't understand a single word they're saying. But that is what's coming up, and the English sites are suggesting that it is
Yeah,
cancelled.
Turkish media confirmed. Yeah, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Everyone warned over dangers of going to Turkish Grand Prix. Turkish media confirms cancellation. Okay. Well, yeah. So it's not been.
So there we go.
We'll see.
It's not officially, but it's unofficially been officially cancelled. But now, no. What this is suggesting more is it's not a rumor anymore. This is sounding like the international media has dodged the embargo where they were going to cancel it, or the Turkish media.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. The only other option then, I mean, I'm happy to go to Hockenheim or Nürburgring. I think either of them would be fine.
So this Turkish one, the cancelled Canadian one.
Yep. This is in place of the Canadian Grand Prix.
So they sent it to Turkey, and that's now been cancelled.
Yeah.
Which
means... we think. We'll see. We'll see. I'll wait until
Azerbaijan.
I might have a look on my usual really dodgy site that comes up with loads of crap and is occasionally right about something. I'll do that. Did you get that news? Did you get that news from George? I've just seen it on our Slack group. Thanks, George.
I did see it on that, and then I went online and confirmed it. Not that I don't believe George, but George gave the heads up, and as we're the only podcast that goes out on that group, as far as I'm aware, sort of around.
There is quite a lot. DNF1 are on there as well, and so is Crypto.
No. Sorry, because normally we wouldn't get that news; it would just have rolled in. But the fact that it was while we were on there, that's why I sort of dropped it in. As far as I'm aware, we're the only podcast recording at this very second.
Yeah.
So
cool. Right, you drop him a message, tell him thanks for the live scoop on air. Right. Okay. Can we move on to F3?
Do we have to?
There we go. We're back in with F3.
That's sounding really bassy still.
It's fine. Don't worry. It sounds fine on the recording.
You can tell. Right. You can tell with theatre geeks when I'm like, that's too basic.
It's fine. So it's a new era for F3, and the series shook up the format in an almost identical fashion to F2, with qualifying on Friday after a single practice session. The qualifying set the grid for the main feature race on Sunday, with reduced points sprint races on Saturday, and the grid for the Saturday race saw 1st to 12th in qualifying reversed for the first, and 1st to 12th in finish order for that race reverse for the second race. Does that make perfect sense yet?
No.
Okay.
Try again.
No. Right. So basically, they do a single practice session, a qualifying session, and then the order for the qualifying session is the starting order for the Sunday feature race. That's fine. That's easy.
Right.
So the qualifying, the top 12 from the qualifying session get reversed for a Saturday sprint race. And then the result of that sprint race, the top 12 in that sprint race get reversed again for the second sprint race. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's exactly the same as F2, except with F2 you've got 24 cars, so they have the top 10 reversed, whereas in F3 you have 30 cars, so it's the top 12.
This blows my poor little mind. I can't cope. I saw one of the 3 races then.
Yeah. You don't need to worry about how they got there. What you need to look at is 12th place gets you on pole for the next race, unless it's but only on the first race. The second race is just a race. But what that means, what I've noticed with that is what you get is obviously people put a lot of basis on qualifying to qualify for the Sunday race. The first race on Saturday, you put a lot of effort into making sure you're in the top 12 or trying to win. And then the second race, all bets are off because it doesn't affect your Sunday. You can just go hell for leather.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. So you got 10.
I just feel like it's just a bit like, I think it's just too many races.
I think it's a better format.
I just lose the will to live on it. It's like, it's how I think a lot of people are going to be with the Formula One.
It's a much better format than last year when you've got F2 and F3 on the same weekend.
Yeah.
You've got 3 races now instead of 4, so you've got 1 less race, and they're all the same people in each race. So in essence, it's actually less confusing because you've got less people to try and memorise. If you're a fan of the sport anyway, then you'll know. Yeah. But if you're not and you're trying to attract casual viewers, you've got 3 races with a bunch of youngsters. So I think that's good. But I
suppose it's like me, where like I managed to see one of the races.
Yeah,
you know,
and
at least I got to see one of the races.
Yeah,
and they still get involved. You know.
So you've got 10 teams, and they all sport 3 cars. So you get a mammoth 30-car grid. There's an average age of just 19.
I forgot about Formula 3.
Yeah, you've got average age of just 19, with Logan Sargent being the highest placed returnee from last year, as he finished 3rd. We're 18 rookies in the field. Matteo Nannini becomes the first driver to complete in a full season for both F2 and F3, as they're on opposite weekends. And the feel-good story of the year
he's competing in F2 and F3.
Yeah, because they're on alternate weekends. So, and the feel-good story of the season is definitely Juan Manuel Correa returning to single-seater racing with ART after 18 months rehab, as he was the other driver in that horrific crash which took the life of Antoine Hubert. He basically, he was the guy who drove into him. So to get back in a car after basically splitting your body in half, like it was like Zanardi basically, except he didn't have his legs amputated. He's had to have loads and loads of procedures to put them back together. But he's back, he's racing, and he's racing for ART, which is just phenomenal. So spoiler alert, he's driver of the day, because whatever he does, he's driver of the day.
Oh God, that makes it very easy then.
Yeah, so I've got quite short race reviews for this, because there's no point doing too many. We're just going to just run through it very quickly. So we had a second formation lap after Ido Cohen broke down to a halt whilst forming the grid. The eventual start saw rookie Johnny Edgar hold the lead, with Smollier close behind. Colette, Novalek, Sargent, and the token Schumacher David completed the top 6. Smollier took the lead on lap 4 of 21 and began to gap the field after a lap of side by side action. David Schumacher told his engineer to stop talking to him, as he'd had enough to do. What a bell end. And
who was that?
David Schumacher.
That top racer. That amazing race. Oh,
yeah.
What was it that George said? Sorry, I'm bringing George back into this.
Yeah, it's fine.
It didn't make me laugh.
You'll like this. Arthur Leclerc, Ferrari Driver Academy's latest nepotism project, got a puncture and had to make a rare F3 pit stop, ruining his weekend early.
It's called Arthur Leclerc. That's a brilliant name.
Yeah. Edgar's brave defensive second finally came to an end on lap 15 as he struggled with the Pirelli rubber in the closing stages. Novalak, now well clear in second, was flying towards Smollier up front, with the promise of a last lap battle looking likely. However, lap 19 ended Oliver Rasmussen's race in the barriers, which caused a safety car, and the remaining 3 laps were done at Mazepin speed. Smollier took the win from Novalak and Colette. Sargent and Edgar, with Fittipaldi taking reverse grid pole for race 2.
The question being, if you put all these into the house, every single one of these drivers into the house, how many of them would be Mazepin?
Probably all of them. Can I just, as someone who's not a huge, you've not been like a motorsport fan for an incredibly long period of time.
No.
Can I just name to you 5 current or ex Ferrari driver academy drivers? I realise
there's a lot of
so
old names.
This is just the Ferrari driver academy. Okay, Arthur Leclerc. Right. This is current
Leclerc brother.
Yeah, current or ex.
Right.
Mick Schumacher.
Right, go on.
Yeah, Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, which is obviously yeah.
Mick
Schumacher fame.
Yeah. Enzo Fittipaldi.
Related to the thing about Fittipaldi, yes.
Related to both Emerson Fittipaldi and
so Pietro, hang on, there's a Fittipaldi
and Pietro Fittipaldi.
Yeah, Pietro's.
Yeah, Pietro
who did the F1.
Yeah,
he did the F1.
But Emerson is an ex-Formula 1 and IndyCar world champion.
Yeah, I knew. And Emerson was
Giuliano Alesi.
As in John
Alesi.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jean. Yeah, and then Sebastian Montoya.
Which is
Juan Pablo Montoya.
He's in who's in IndyCar.
Yeah, well, he's also raced in Formula 1. He raced alongside Schumacher. Well, he raced against Schumacher.
Basically, it's Ferrari's nepotistic drivers academy.
Basically, yeah. So,
does this give us any chance for the layman to get into?
You need to have backing.
Close, but
you need to have backing and a good name, seemingly.
Well, money in a name. We said,
Yeah.
And if you've got a name, you're grand. that matches someone else's name in Formula One. But then the film industry's like that. We're incredibly
Yeah.
nepotistic.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, race 2. A delayed start to race 2 saw Enzo Fittipaldi hold the lead. Sargent and Smollier took an early bath after colliding with each other at turn 3. Smollier got twitchy with what looked like a puncture, and Sargent was the innocent victim. The safety car was straight out, leading the field for around 3 laps while they cleared the mess. Schumacher pushed for the lead, but ran out of adhesion and slotted back into second. The Yuki Tsunoda Hype train was replaced by the F3 DRS train at the Circuit de Catalunya. It was more like the circuit of the A322 on a Monday morning at 8 a.m. Bit of a local reference there. Basically,
it's the A322.
It's the road.
That's an old road.
No, it's the A322 is the road that runs alongside the M3 that goes out of Bracknell. Bit of a local reference there. So basically, it's
Between
a big queue
Bracknell
of
and
cars.
Guildford.
Yeah,
it's between Bracknell and Guildford.
Basically, it was just a big queue of cars. Half distance, and Schumacher took the lead from Fittipaldi with Nannini in third, making it the rubbish XF1 relatives very proud. Grandson of Emerson pushed son of Ralph hard off track and into the barriers, while nephew of Alessandro inherited the lead.
There's a nephew in there as well.
Yeah, nephew of Alessandro Nannini. It's Matteo Nannini's the nephew of Alessandro Nannini.
Is there anyone in this formula that is not related to someone somewhere to do with something?
Yeah,
is there anyone that's just got there because they can drive?
No. The safety car came out 5 laps ago, and Nannini led the way from Hauger and Caldwell. And the penultimate lap saw Hauger spin Nannini round and then drives into him, effectively ending both of their races. Caldwell drive past them, laughing his tits off. He had to make a last lap defence from Victor Martins, but he came home to win with Vesti third. And thanks to the upfront action, Juan Manuel Correa scored a point. Woo!
Oh wow!
That was a good race. I enjoyed that one. That was the best one of the weekend.
I think I saw that one. I think that's what I saw.
So
I don't know who anyone is. That's the problem.
It's difficult. It's you need to watch 3 or 4 races, 3 or 4 race weekends to get into it. And the trouble is they only have like 6 race weekends. So by the time you've got into it, it's finishing, and then you have 18 rookies the next year. So it is hard to get into. So the final race of the weekend saw Hauger make a poor start, leading to a 4-car wide turn 1, but Hauger maintained position somehow. Colombo solved the mystery of the slow F3 car. It was the left rear. It was flat. Wonder how many times they've made that joke in the past.
Who's Colombo?
Exactly, Colombo. He's the guy with the dirty Mac and the cigar. 8 laps down, and no bugger could overtake, which is odd for F3, but there we have it. One driver did manage to overtake, and it was baby bro Leclerc got past Correa for 13th. Damn you. A blue car passed a black car for 26th, I think, but the timing screens only got up to 20 seconds, so I couldn't really see. Lap 12, and finally some action, and Nannini started to struggle. Doohan passed him for 2nd, and Martins pressured him for 3rd. Hauger was a Mazapan lap difference to Schumacher. Yeah, Dennis Hauger was a Mazapan lap difference to Schumacher, clear out front.
I thought
so
that might
4
be
seconds.
Female. I thought that might be a female called Helga.
No, Hauger.
Like some German female racer.
He was 4 seconds.
Not stereotyping at all.
I made a joke there, but you completely shat all over my joke there, so I'm not going to bother repeating it. The pack promised some action in the short spells, but in all honesty, nothing really happened. Alex Brundle referenced. Alex Brundle's the commentator.
Nepotism again.
I'm going to get through this race review at some point.
The commentators.
Anyway, the other commentator, Joshua Walker.
No,
I'm joking.
Johnny Walker.
No. Johnny Walker? Who the hell's Johnny Walker?
He's the guy. Wasn't
Murray.
Johnny Walker. Murray Walker. But Johnny Walker used to be the sponsor, weren't they?
Johnny Walker's
there was whiskey, that was it.
Anyway, Alex Brundle referred to the midfield battle as thrilling, which was a bit of a stretch, more of a stretch than a hedgehog giving birth to an elephant, but there we go. He's paid to hype up the race. There was a few changes in minor positions.
To make shit jokes, seemingly.
There was. I tell you what, this was such a dull race. This one, I was just like, just nothing happened. A few changes in minor positions, most notably Vesti and Collette passing Sargent, who seemed to have some damage after an excursion off the track. Hauger won a lights to flag race with Doohan and Nannini in a frankly terrible race. Yeah, almost as bad as my jokes.
I mean, I don't know which were worse there. Your jokes are... Go on. Just put me out of the misery. Which nepotistic son, brother, nephew was your driver of the day?
I've got driver of the day as Juan Manuel Correa. He scored a point, and the guy's been through so much. There's no one else he can go to. Dick of the day, right. I'm going with two nepotistic people. Enzo Fittipaldi for ramming David Schumacher. So there we go.
Right.
So we got Hauger leads on 34 points, Caldwell second on 32, Novalak on 28, Martins on 24.
Please don't tell me you're going all through all 30. I can't cope.
No, not going to do it. Oh, you've also got Jack Doohan in fifth with 21. Your son of Mick Doohan, the motorbiker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then we've got Colette.
Although I do know Jack Doohan more than me.
Yeah, you would do. And then Colette Vesti, Smolly, Nannini, Edgar. It's top 10. And then Sargent in 11th. And that's pretty much it. You got Correa's in 15th with just the 1 point. So that's F3. 2 races were good. 1 was terrible. Some really bad jokes. Apart from that, that's it. I mean, I quite... I think...
I quite enjoyed the first 2 races, seemingly.
Yeah.
Did it lose the edge after 3 races? I know that you were...
No,
you were saying, okay, it's only 3 races, but at least if it's 2 different formulas, you feel like you're watching other people instead of the same people going around the same track.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't so much that I got bored of the racing. It's just that the third race was terrible. That would have been the same for the first or the second race.
Good. Okay. It was just a boring race, was it? Why was it so boring? That's very strange for Formula 3 to have little overtakes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was the feature race, but there's no pit stops at all in F3, so there's no strategy. It's all down to racing. They have to race, and if they can't race, they can't race. I think it's the track, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's the track.
So when are they back out?
Their next race is quite a way off, I think. Bear with me. It is... I've got it on here on my thing. Their next race is France, 27th of June. And then they're back-to-back, 27th of June and 4th of July. We've got F2 at Monaco and Azerbaijan. And then we've got...
Why are they doing the street tracks? That's really mean.
Yes. Well, because they're better drivers.
High street tracks. Yeah. And there's not 30 of them trying to get around Monaco.
Yeah, oh my God. Can you imagine 30 cars around Monaco? Jesus Christ.
We just saw 24. Just seen 24.
Yeah, but they're a bit smaller.
Also, Darren would like to wish Tsunoda happy 21st birthday.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday. I'll make sure I tell him next time I see him.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Darren. I don't know if you're telling us to tell him that, because I really don't care, because it makes me feel incredibly old. What was it? There was a thing that was going, a meme, or whatever you call them, that was... which made me feel really old, which I didn't realise how old Hamilton was. I didn't realise he was older than Vettel.
Yeah,
but the last time Alonso and Raikkonen were in a championship together, Hamilton was 15 and Yuki Tsunoda was 9 months.
Yeah. There's a great picture of Yuki Tsunoda at like 7 years old standing in front of Hamilton's championship winning car.
Isn't there one of George Russell stood next door to Hamilton?
There's one of George Russell stood behind Lewis Hamilton in 2007.
Yeah,
and he's trying to get. I think he's trying to get his autograph at Silverstone.
Yeah,
yeah, that's good. So I
was gonna say there's hope for us yet, Tom, but there really isn't.
No, there isn't any hope for us. Come on. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. That's a mammoth podcast to get that much in. I don't know how much of it's going to remain, because probably most of it's going to be cut because it was terrible. We've got a really bad time delay today, so
yeah, we're sorry for that.
Yeah, it's been quite difficult. We've been talking over each other quite a lot, but I promise it's not just because we're rude. Not just because we're rude. It is also because of.
No, we are rude and we argue, and we're good friends that argue a lot. So
yeah, and time delays. Time delays just make that worse.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right.
But I've already
picked up on the time today.
Yeah, I have. It's bad.
We're doing well there. We're doing well.
As I've already shut down my my soundboard, I'm not going to bother with the outro. I'll just put that in post. So, bye everyone. Bye.
Bye. Ugh. There we go.
There we go. We're done.
That's the podcast done.
Yeah. Bye.